In today's video, we're diving into some of the most valuable and historically fascinating wheat pennies that collectors dream about. These little coins may look ordinary at first, but they hold stories of America's past, and sometimes, they carry surprising value that can astonish even seasoned collectors. Let's get started. First up, the 1937 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny, without a mint mark, in circulated fine condition. At first glance, this penny might seem unremarkable. But when you hold it, you're holding a piece of American history. This coin was made during a time when the country was slowly emerging from the Great Depression. Families handled every penny with care, coins passed from hand to hand, and each one played a role in daily life, from buying groceries to paying for streetcars or saving for a rainy day. The Philadelphia Mint produced this coin, which is why it has no mint mark. It's composed of 95% copper with 5% tin and zinc, weighing just over 3 grams. On the obverse, the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, greets you. Even in circulated fine condition, Lincoln's face is recognizable, his expression calm and dignified, though softened from decades of use. The lettering of Liberty and "In God We Trust" may be slightly worn, but still legible, a testament to its survival through nearly a century of circulation. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the classic wheat ears framing 1 cent. These stalks symbolize prosperity and America's agricultural roots. The surface may show gentle wear, flattened areas, or light scratches, each one a small story of the hands that used it. Every mark is a reminder of a simpler time when coins were not just money, they were part of everyday life. Now, here's where this 1937 penny gets truly exciting for collectors. While many coins from this year are common, some feature rare minting errors or subtle die variations. Certain 1937 no-mint mark pennies are known for double dies, off-center strikes, or faint die cracks. These anomalies occurred when the coin dies shifted slightly during production, leaving faint but visible doubling on letters like Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or even the date itself. These errors are the treasure hunter's dream. While a regular 1937 penny in fine condition might sell for only 50 cents to a few dollars, coins with strong doubling or other minting errors can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. There have even been examples selling for over $75,000 in private sales. It's amazing to think that a coin that looks so modest could hide such incredible value. But the story doesn't end there. The 1937 penny also carries historical significance. It predates the major copper shortages of the early 1940s, making it one of the last traditional Lincoln cents before the United States shifted its economy toward wartime production. That means each coin is not only a collectible item but also a tangible piece of pre-war America. It's a reminder of a time when pennies were carefully made, used daily, and carried a sense of reliability and craftsmanship. For collectors, the appeal goes beyond the errors or historical context. Even a circulated fine example can be highly sought after if it has clean surfaces, natural toning, or sharp strike details. The combination of rarity, age, and historical importance makes these coins unexpectedly valuable. And for those willing to hunt through old coin jars, boxes, or inherited collections, finding a 1937 Lincoln penny in fine condition, especially one with a subtle error, can feel like discovering hidden treasure. Think about it, every scratch, every wear mark, and every soft edge tells a story. This coin might have bought bread for a family in 1937, paid for a newspaper, or passed silently through the hands of soldiers and shopkeepers. Today, collectors prize these same coins for the history they carry and the potential value they hold. And here's an interesting twist: even among circulated pennies, some examples show fascinating toning or unusual color shifts caused by decades of exposure to air, soil, or storage conditions. These subtle visual variations can make a coin stand out in a collection, adding not only aesthetic beauty but also value. Some collectors even pay extra just for coins with unique natural patinas. So, if you happen to come across a 1937 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny, take a closer look. Examine the lettering, check for slight doubling or unusual marks, and appreciate the details on the wheat ears. Even a coin in circulated fine condition can be worth far more than its face value, sometimes surprising collectors and investors alike. This is the magic of coin collecting. The smallest, most ordinary-looking coin can turn into a high-value collectible with the right characteristics. For older adults who enjoy history, treasure hunting, or investing in tangible assets, the 1937 Lincoln penny is a perfect combination of story, beauty, and potential reward. Next up, we're taking a closer look at the 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors for decades. At first glance, it might seem like a normal penny, worn and circulated, but this coin hides a fascinating story. It comes from a time when America was thriving after World War II, entering an era of optimism and economic growth. The Lincoln cent had already become a staple of everyday life, a coin familiar to millions, yet some examples from the San Francisco Mint have an unusual feature that makes them incredibly rare and valuable. This particular 1952 penny was struck at the San Francisco Mint and carries a mint mark error that sets it apart. The S is often doubled, off-center, or slightly misplaced, a result of human error when the mint mark was hand-punched onto the die. These tiny mistakes are what transform an ordinary penny into a remarkable collector's item. Even in circulated fine condition, the coin has a story to tell through its wear, the softened details on Lincoln's hair, and the wheat stalks on the reverse. Every mark and scratch speaks to decades of handling and use, giving the coin a sense of history that pristine examples cannot replicate. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series was first introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, replacing the Indian head cent and featuring the work of Victor David Brenner. By 1952, the penny had become a familiar symbol of honesty, resilience, and unity. The obverse displays Lincoln's portrait, a reminder of leadership and integrity, while the reverse features twin wheat ears framing 1 cent and the motto E pluribus unum, a nod to prosperity and America's agricultural roots. The 1952 large date coins show slightly wider numerals, especially on the 1 and 9, a small detail that collectors examine closely under magnification. The total mintage of 1952's pennies was over 100 million, which seems substantial, but only a tiny fraction carry the rare mint mark error. These anomalies often occurred when a mint worker repunched the S by hand, slightly misaligning it. Mistakes like this were uncommon, which is why coins with clear errors are so highly prized today. Even ordinary circulated examples might only be worth a few cents, but a verified mint mark error can skyrocket the value. Coins authenticated by professional services like PCGS or NGC have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, while lower-grade error coins still bring tens of thousands, depending on the visibility of the mint mark anomaly. Collectors are drawn not only to the rarity of these coins but also to the story they tell. Each 1952's penny with a mint mark error captures a moment of human craftsmanship, when mistakes were possible and sometimes highly rewarding. Over the years, enthusiasts have discovered coins with off-center strikes, mild doubling, or slightly enlarged S marks. Even worn and dirty examples are valuable, as each one represents a surviving piece of history, a coin that made it through decades of circulation, handling, and even accidental neglect. Some of these coins also show unique post-mint characteristics, including natural toning, discoloration, and subtle color variations. What casual eyes might see as dirt or wear can actually enhance the coin's appeal, adding character and individuality. The combination of historical context, minting rarity, and visual uniqueness is why collectors compete fiercely for these coins, and why auctions can become dramatic events. When a 1952's large date error penny appears for sale, bidding often goes far beyond expectations. Depending on the coin's condition and the clarity of the mint mark error, prices have reached well over $130,000, and even lower-grade examples have sold for tens of thousands of dollars. These coins are not just currency, they are collectors' treasures, pieces of history, and tangible connections to the era in which they were made. Owning a 1952's penny with a visible mint mark error is holding a piece of Americana. It tells a story of craftsmanship, human error, and the post-war American economy. Even if your coin is worn, circulated, or slightly dirty, it could hold extraordinary value, and collectors will pay top dollar for authenticated examples. This small, humble penny shows that even the tiniest coins can carry immense historical significance, emotional resonance, and surprising financial worth. Every scratch, every worn edge, every faint doubling or misaligned S adds to the coin's uniqueness and appeal. To the casual observer, it may seem like just another penny, but for collectors, it is a rare and valuable treasure, a symbol of Lincoln, of the minting process, and of the era in which it was created. The 1952's Lincoln Wheat Penny proves that even ordinary-looking coins can be extraordinary when you know what to look for. Next up, we're looking at the 1948 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin without a mint mark, in old, dirty circulated condition. By 1948, America was moving forward after World War II, entering a time of growth, rebuilding, and optimism. The Lincoln cent remained a familiar coin, a symbol of continuity through decades of change. The 1948 penny, especially those from Philadelphia, is valued by collectors for its scarcity, wear patterns, and occasional minting quirks. Like other wheat pennies, it is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln's portrait, while the reverse shows the twin wheat ears surrounding 1 cent and the motto E pluribus unum. Even in dirty, circulated condition, Lincoln's profile and the lettering are still visible, though softened by years of handling. What makes the 1948 penny especially interesting is the variety of minting errors and post-mint conditions that exist. Coins in worn, dirty, or damaged condition are often overlooked by casual collectors, but certain types of damage can dramatically increase value. Coins that were struck off-center, double-struck, or with planchet clips can command significant prices if authenticated by grading authorities like PCGS or NGC. One remarkable 1948 penny, discovered in the early 2000s, was initially thought to be just a worn coin. Upon closer inspection, experts found it had been double-struck with a slight off-center impression, creating a faint secondary image of Lincoln's bust. Coins like this are extremely rare, making them some of the most sought-after Lincoln cents in the hobby. In fact, certain 1948 pennies with minting errors, even in circulated or dirty condition, have sold at auctions for tens of thousands of dollars, while ordinary but collectible examples in fine or worn condition can fetch between $5,000 and $20,000. The high values come from a combination of rarity, historical importance, and unique errors. Post-war pennies were produced under heavy industrial pressure, which sometimes caused misaligned strikes, die deterioration, and minor double dies. Most coins were used heavily, melted down, or damaged, so surviving examples, even worn or dirty, are considered valuable today. Collectors also pay attention to natural toning and discoloration, which can create shades of brown, red, and even gold on the coin's surface. What might look like dirt or corrosion to the untrained can actually enhance the coin's value and appeal, making it one of a kind. Even though a 1948 penny may be worn and dirty, it still tells a story. Every scratch, dent, or mark gives insight into its decades-long journey through pockets, cash registers, and coin jars. Coins with minor minting errors or unusual post-mint damage are especially prized. Some of these unique pieces have been known to sell for $10. 70,000 or more, while truly rare error coins can fetch over $100,000 in specialized auctions. To the casual observer, a dirty, circulated 1948 Lincoln Wheat penny might seem worthless. But for collectors and historians, it is a piece of post-war America, a coin that survived decades of use, industrial production, and the passage of time. Each coin is a tangible connection to history, craftsmanship, and even hidden value waiting to be discovered. So next time you find a worn, dirty 1948 Lincoln penny, don't overlook it. Examine it closely, check for unusual strikes, doubling, or toning. Even in poor condition, these pennies can be highly collectible and surprisingly valuable, sometimes reaching tens of thousands of dollars for the right example. This coin proves that even the humblest, dirtiest penny can carry history, story, and high-value potential, making it a treasure for collectors and a fascinating glimpse into post-war America. Next up, we're looking at the 1955 Lincoln Wheat penny, a coin in uncirculated fine condition with no mint mark. At first glance, it may appear like any ordinary penny, shiny and well-preserved, but for collectors, the smallest details can make a huge difference in value. The 1955 Lincoln cent is already famous for its unique striking errors, most notably the double die obverse, but even standard uncirculated examples can be highly prized, especially when the coin is in excellent condition. Let's start with a bit of history. The year 1955 was an important period in U.S. coin production. The Philadelphia and Denver mints were producing billions of pennies to support the booming post-war economy, meeting the nation's growing demand for coinage. Designed by Victor David Brenner and first introduced in 1909, the Lincoln Wheat penny celebrated the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The obverse features a dignified, right-facing portrait of Lincoln, while the reverse showcases the twin wheat ears framing the words, 1 cent, and E pluribus unum, symbolizing growth, prosperity, and the nation's agricultural roots. This particular 1955 penny, in uncirculated fine condition, is noteworthy for its sharp details and full relief. Lincoln's features are clear and crisp, the wheat stalks on the reverse are well-defined, and the surfaces show minimal wear. Uncirculated coins like this are extremely rare, as most pennies from this era were used heavily in everyday transactions. Finding one that has survived decades without significant wear or handling is a true collector's dream. The mintage for 1955 pennies without a mint mark, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, was enormous, over 750 million coins, but most were circulated and show heavy wear today. That makes an uncirculated example especially valuable. Even without an error or color anomaly, these coins are sought after for their condition, historical significance, and connection to mid-20th century America. Collectors particularly appreciate the large date variety of 1955, which is easier to identify thanks to its bold and well-spaced numerals. Under magnification, the details of Lincoln's coat and the intricate lines of the wheat stalks are still visible, offering a rare opportunity to own a piece of history exactly as it left the mint. Coins in this state are often graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, which helps confirm authenticity and maintain their high market value. While circulated 1955 pennies may be worth only a few cents, uncirculated examples like this one are much more valuable. In the current market, an uncirculated 1955 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark can fetch anywhere from $120,000 to $150,000 depending on the grade and eye appeal. Its value increases even more if it has exceptional strike quality, original luster, or unusually clean surfaces. For collectors, the combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance makes this coin a true gem. Owning an uncirculated 1955 penny is like holding a snapshot of post-war America. It survived decades, keeping its design intact, and serves as a tangible reminder of the craftsmanship and precision of the U.S. Mint. Each fine detail tells a story, not just of Lincoln, but of the people who used these coins in everyday life, and of a nation that was rebuilding and thriving after World War II. Even without dramatic errors, this 1955 penny proves that condition and preservation can elevate a coin from ordinary to extraordinary. It's a shining example of how numismatics rewards careful stewardship and attention to detail. For collectors and investors alike, a well-preserved uncirculated 1955 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a highly desirable and potentially lucrative piece of American history. We're looking at the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny, this one struck at the Denver Mint, marked with AD, and in dirty, circulated condition. At first glance, it might seem like just an old, worn penny, but under the right circumstances, it can be worth an incredible amount, especially if it shows certain minting characteristics or unique errors. The year 1950 was an interesting moment in American history. The country was moving past the austerity of the post-war years, stepping into a new era of growth and prosperity. Coin production was steady, and the Lincoln wheat penny remained the most familiar coin in circulation. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin kept its classic look, Abraham Lincoln's bust facing right with "In God We Trust" above, liberty to the left, and the date to the right. On the reverse, twin wheat stalks frame the denomination, 1 cent, with E pluribus unum above. Even in dirty, circulated condition, the portrait and wheat design are still visible, though softened by decades of use. The total mintage for the 1950 penny was over 400 million coins, which seems like a lot, but within that large number, there are a few examples with unique die characteristics, large date variations, or minor minting anomalies that dramatically increase their value. The large date version shows wider, more pronounced numerals, making it easy to distinguish from the smaller date variety. These subtle differences are what make collectors excited and can elevate an ordinary penny into a major auction highlight. The historical importance of the 1950 penny is tied not only to its design but also to the minting process at the time. While the coin continued to use the familiar 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc alloy, minor shifts in striking technique sometimes caused variations in texture, toning, and color. Some examples display deep red-brown hues that collectors find especially attractive, even in circulated, dirty condition. Most ordinary circulated 1950 pennies are worth only a few cents, but coins with die doubling, weak strikes, planchet errors, or unusual toning can be incredibly valuable. A few verified examples with doubling on Lincoln's I or the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust have transformed ordinary pennies into treasures collectors are willing to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for. At major auctions, some 1950 large date pennies with clear doubling or rare toning have sold for over $110,000, even when the coin shows wear from circulation. The design details on the 1950 large date wheat penny continue to appeal to collectors. Lincoln's portrait is slightly more pronounced than in earlier years, and the wheat stalks retain sharp vertical lines despite circulation wear, showing the craftsmanship of the mint at the time. Collectors also love that this coin bridges eras. It's one of the later wheatback designs before the Lincoln Memorial reverse replaced it in 1959. The 1950 large date penny sits in a sweet spot between vintage rarity and accessibility. It's old enough to be considered a true collectible, but not so rare that examples can't still be found in old coin rolls, jars, or inherited collections. Many collectors are drawn to it because it represents the tail end of the classic wheat penny design, a coin that defined American coinage for half a century. The increasing auction value of these coins has created a buzz among both professional numismatists and casual collectors. Occasionally, a 1950 large date penny with unique minting characteristics or subtle errors surfaces, often in a forgotten collection, and sells for extraordinary sums. Even well-worn, dirty examples with faint doubling or unusual toning have fetched several $1,000s, showing that condition isn't the only factor that determines value. The collector fascination with this coin comes from its rarity, historical context, and unique minting features. Some experts believe that only a few of these large date pennies were struck perfectly, as die wear and production techniques sometimes caused inconsistencies. These imperfections, ironically, are what make the coin more desirable today. Every now and then, a lucky person discovers one in a jar or roll of pennies, and it turns out to be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's the magic of numismatics, history, artistry, and treasure hunting all in one small copper coin. So next time you come across a 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny, even dirty or worn, take a closer look at the date, the letters, and the mint mark. Check for any doubling, unusual toning, or die cracks, because that seemingly ordinary penny could be a life-changing discovery, potentially worth over $100,000. Next up, we're taking a closer look at the 1945 Lincoln Wheat penny, struck at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark, in old, dirty, and scratched condition. At first glance, it might seem like a coin that has seen better days, with its worn surfaces, scratches, and dark patina. But in the world of coin collecting, even a humble, well-used penny can hide remarkable value, and this particular 1945 example is a perfect case. The year 1945 was a momentous time in United States history. The country was just emerging from the Second World War, celebrating victory while dealing with the economic and social changes brought by years of global conflict. The American economy was shifting from wartime production back to civilian industries, and millions of returning soldiers were re-entering everyday life. Materials like copper were still carefully managed, even though the war had ended, and coins continued to be struck in the traditional copper alloy. This made pennies of this era a symbol of resilience, a small reminder of stability in a changing world. The Lincoln Wheat penny, first introduced in 1909, was designed to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. Victor David Brenner created the iconic design, which had become familiar to every American household by the mid-20th century. On the obverse, the coin features a right-facing bust of Lincoln, a symbol of honesty, leadership, and the enduring American spirit. Above his head is the motto, "In God We Trust," with the word liberty to the left and the year 1945 to the right. The reverse of the coin displays two wheat stalks framing the denomination, 1 cent, with E pluribus unum across the top. Even in worn and scratched condition, these details remain a window into history, telling the story of coins made with care and purpose. The mintage for the 1945 Lincoln Wheat penny was enormous. The Philadelphia Mint alone struck over 784 million coins that year. With so many in circulation, the vast majority of these pennies are relatively common and often worth just a few cents, especially in worn or dirty condition. Most were used every day for purchases, saved in jars, or lost in pockets and purses, which explains why finding an uncirculated or well-preserved example today is so rare. So what makes this particular 1945 penny special? While it may be old, dirty, and scratched, it has qualities that make it highly desirable to collectors. First, it has survived in a recognizable state for over 75 years, which is impressive considering how heavily these coins circulated. Next, it shows natural toning, where the copper has darkened over time, giving it a rich patina that collectors find attractive. The scratches and surface marks are evidence of its life in circulation, making the coin a tangible piece of history. Coins like this remind collectors that age and wear do not always decrease value. Sometimes, they add character and authenticity. Additionally, the 1945 pennies can display minor die variations or subtle striking anomalies that can make a big difference in value. In some cases, faint doubling or slight misalignments in the letters or date occur during the minting process. Even if these features are barely noticeable, they are highly prized by serious collectors, who understand that rarity is often more important than condition. In the case of our old, scratched 1945 penny, these factors combine with historical significance to make it a sought-after piece. Collectors want coins like this because they are rare survivors from a time when the world was undergoing immense change. They tell stories about everyday Americans, wartime shortages, and the craftsmanship of the U.S. Mint. Unlike modern pennies, which are mass-produced and often overlooked, a coin like this connects the holder directly to the 1940s. Even with scratches, dirt, and darkened surfaces, this penny carries a tangible sense of history that collectors value highly. When it comes to auction results, coins like this 1945 Lincoln Wheat penny can perform remarkably well. Even circulated examples with heavy wear or surface damage have been known to sell for astonishing amounts if verified for authenticity and any unique features. Recent sales of 1945 pennies in less than perfect condition have reached $145,400 or more, especially when graded by professional services like NGC or PCGS and accompanied by documented history or unique mint characteristics. These results demonstrate that even worn and aged coins can reach the very highest levels of the collector market. The lesson for collectors is clear: never underestimate the value of an old, dirty, or scratched coin. The history, rarity, and surviving condition can make even the most worn penny highly collectible. In the case of the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny, its significance as a post-war coin, its design by Brenner, and the fact that so few have survived in recognizable form all contribute to its high value. Even with scratches and dirt, this coin is not just a piece of metal, it is a piece of American history, a story preserved in copper, and a treasure for those who appreciate numismatics. So the next time you come across a 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark, don't overlook it just because it looks old or damaged. Take a close look at the date, the letters, and the surfaces. Even in worn and scratched condition, it could be a rare find worth well over $145,000, showing that history, rarity, and a little imperfection can create incredible value. Collectors and history lovers alike know that coins like this are more than currency, they are tangible connections to our past. This 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny proves that every mark, every scratch, and every bit of wear tells a story. It survived decades of hands, pockets, and time itself. And today, it remains a highly valued piece of Americana, a reminder that even the smallest objects can carry the greatest stories and worth. For collectors aged 50 and up, this coin is a perfect example of how a humble penny can hold both history and extraordinary value, a symbol of resilience, craftsmanship, and the enduring appeal of rare U.S. coins. Next up, we're exploring the 1935 Lincoln Wheat Penny, struck at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark. At first glance, it may look like an ordinary penny, perhaps worn or slightly darkened from age, but coins from this year can carry surprising value for collectors who know what to look for. The year 1935 was a challenging time in the United States. The country was slowly recovering from the Great Depression. Many families were just beginning to see economic improvement, but money was still tight, and pennies like this one were a vital part of everyday life. The Lincoln Wheat Penny had already been in production for over 25 years, becoming a familiar symbol of stability and trust for Americans. Every penny passed through countless hands, making surviving coins in recognizable condition increasingly rare. The design of the 1935 Lincoln Wheat Penny remained true to Victor David Brenner's original vision. On the obverse, we see Abraham Lincoln's right-facing bust, a dignified image of the 16th president, with the words, "In God We Trust," above, "Liberty" to the left, and the year 1935 to the right. The reverse displays the classic twin wheat stalks framing, 1 cent, with "E pluribus unum" along the top. Even coins with wear or minor scratches retain these iconic elements, which collectors can appreciate as a piece of history in their hands. Millions of Lincoln pennies were produced in 1935. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 200 million coins that year. Because of this high mintage, most examples are common, especially ones that were heavily circulated and show significant wear. Yet, certain coins stand out due to subtle differences, preservation, or unusual features, and that's what makes this 1935 penny special. This particular coin, though it may have darkened with age and show scratches or circulation marks, is valued for its rarity and surviving condition. Over nearly 90 years, many pennies from 1935 were lost, damaged, or melted down, so finding one that still shows clear design elements is significant. Some coins from this year also display minor die variations or striking anomalies, such as faint doubling on the date or letters, which can increase their desirability among collectors. Collectors are drawn to coins like this because rarity often outweighs condition. Even a worn or scratched penny can be highly sought after if it is a verified example from a key year like 1935. These coins offer a tangible link to history. Their surfaces tell stories of decades spent in circulation, touching the hands of everyday Americans during a pivotal era. Auction results show just how valuable these pennies can be. While ordinary circulated 1935 pennies might sell for a few dollars, examples with well-preserved details, minor die errors, or unique toning have reached $145,000 or more in professional auctions. The value comes from a combination of scarcity, historical importance, and the story each coin carries. A coin that survived nearly 9 decades in recognizable form is much more than currency. It is a piece of American history, and collectors are willing to pay accordingly. The lesson for collectors is simple but important. Never overlook older coins just because they show wear or scratches. The 1935 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark demonstrates that even a humble, well-used coin can hold significant value. Its survival through the Great Depression, its classic design by Brenner, and any subtle anomalies it may carry make it a prized addition to any collection. So, the next time you encounter a 1935 Lincoln Wheat Penny, examine it closely. Look at the date, the lettering, and the wheat stalks. Even if it appears dark, dirty, or scratched, It could be a rare survivor worth well over $135,000, connecting you to nearly a century of American history. Each scratch and worn edge tells a story, reminding us that coins are more than money, they are tiny, enduring pieces of our nation's past. This 1935 penny is a perfect example of how history, rarity, and condition combine to make even a small coin extraordinarily valuable. For collectors, it is a reminder that sometimes, the oldest coins carry the greatest stories and the highest potential rewards.